Well, Jason Kelce, he admitted on his New Heights podcast that the NFL, they're not happy with the Eagles' Tush Push. The Rams, they get Cooper Kupp back, but Matthew Stafford is now banged up. Nick Sirianni's upset at all of us for being worried about the Eagles' 4-0 start. And A.J. Brown made a cornerback delete his Twitter account. I'm Thomas Mott. This is the Thomas Mott Show. Let's start with the Eagles' move yesterday that made a lot of waves throughout the National Football League, and that was the signing of Bradley Roby. Talked about it on the show yesterday. A couple more details have come in. They've officially announced it, by the way, on their Twitter account. Jeff McClain had this a couple of minutes ago saying they've signed him to the practice squad, meaning he might not play on Sunday. This is worth noting. A lot of people are thinking Roby, who's been out the entire season, hasn't been on an actual team, which is going to waltz in and take over the nickel cornerback spot. Not necessarily true. I saw a couple of very interesting tweets talking about how Roby has a couple of weeks on the practice squad to learn the defense, and then maybe could be slated to actually be elevated to the active roster come week 7 against the Miami Dolphins. Now remember, you have the Rams and you have the Jets coming up the next 2 weeks. Then you would go ahead and play the home game against the Dolphins. Roby might be ready to play by then, but I don't think he's going to be ready to play by this Sunday because there's still a lot to learn on that Eagle defense, and the Eagles might not want to kind of mix things up when they go against a very healthy and dangerous Ram wide receiver core. Also worth noting, Justin Evans and Bradley Roby, pointed out by Joe Castro here, they're no strangers. They've been playing together, or at least did play together while they were with the New Orleans Saints, and you see the connection here when Evans pops that ball up for the interception by Roby. Now, whether Roby plays or not, Philadelphia secondary has a massive test coming up on Sunday on the road against the Rams. We talked about it a little bit yesterday, but Diana Rossini, other NFL reporters have officially made it official. That is that Cooper Kupp is pushing to play against the Eagles. The Rams, of course, want to use Kupp on those deep over routes, and will test it out to see if he can get close to max speed. The better news, I'm told the injury was not as serious in terms of long-term as initially feared, end quote. So that hamstring, that leg injury that Cooper Kupp has been dealing with, well, looks like he, 1, is activated, and 2, he will play. And that's good news for a Rams team that has been loving Puka Nacua, and rightfully so. The guy's been fantastic. He's on your fantasy football team, but this is another wrinkle for an Eagles defense that ranks 27th against the pass and has their work cut out for them on Sunday. You guys think Philadelphia's going to get the win? Give me your early score predictions here on a Wednesday for Eagles and Rams. Now, one injury worth noting is the situation with Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford. Look at this tweet from Adam Schefter today. Rams QB Matthew Stafford has a hip contusion, per head coach Sean McVay, who said, "We'll be smart with him, but it should be good to go." He is definitely a stud. Obviously, we see him get through that yesterday, but definitely took a good shot there. We feel like he should be good to go, end quote. Now, we'll wait and see what the final injury report, maybe Friday, maybe early Sunday morning, we'll have on the situation with Matthew Stafford. It's not like he's not going to play, but he's definitely banged up. And for a quarterback who already isn't that mobile, and Philadelphia's defensive line getting an insane amount of pressure, maybe that'll be the kind of tipping point where Philadelphia can have a little bit more of an edge defensively if it's a hindered or hobbled Matthew Stafford against, like we said earlier, a very, very good receiving core. If Stafford can't move around, doesn't have time, then he has no time to find Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. Now, we all know the Eagles' tush push is, the talk of the town right now in the National Football League, and you and I love it. The rest of the league, they hate it. But Jason Kelce admitted on the most recent New Heights podcast that Philadelphia sent the Eagles a letter explaining that they're going to start getting penalized because Landon Dickerson is offsides. Listen to this, quote, "The NFL sent a warning to the Eagles regarding the brotherly shove formation, alleging Landon Dickerson has been lining up the neutral zone. However, in the offsides call received on Sunday, Jason says the NFL got it wrong and confused his left hand with Landon's," which you clearly see that to be the case. Kelce also confirmed that Commanders' defensive line, Daron Payne, was putting his hand under the ball on the snap, end quote, which, again, we looked at this, we said this on Sunday, very obviously, yes, this is exactly what is going on. The NFL, to me, is subtly trying to tell the Eagles to stop doing it, that you're lining up in the neutral zone, which has not been true at all for the Eagles, 10 plus conversions on the tush push so far this season. The NFL needs to make sure they're not too focused on Philadelphia, but also keys in on opposing defenses who, like Daron Payne in the Washington Commanders case, was lined up illegally too close trying to get a jump start against the Eagles' tush push. Now, they can't officially ban it during the season. They got to vote on it during the offseason, but to me, it feels like the NFL is going to get rid of this play sooner rather than later, which is so stupid because Jeff Kerr points out the rest of the league just stinks at it. Philadelphia so far this season, 10 of 11, 91% on the tush push. Rest of the league, 49 of 71, that's 68%. Philadelphia, of course, 2 for 2 in week 4, not counting that fake tush push. And everyone else, 2 for 5. It's not my fault that Philadelphia is great at this. It's not your fault the Eagles are great at this. It's the league's fault that other teams are just so darn bad. Which, if we're keeping count, Patriots tried it in week 4. They didn't get it. Chargers tried it in week 4. They didn't get it. The Giants tried it in week 4, and boy, that offense is terrible. And guess what? They didn't get it either. And what's even funnier is Brian Daboll said after the game, the Giants only ever walked through the tush push play. They never practiced it live. He said both John Michael Schmitz and Daniel Bellinger got injured on the play too. Again, a play they never practiced live. It's a very serious play. It's a physical play. It's a rugby play. You should practice this play if you want to actually be good at it. Maybe that's why Philadelphia is so good at it, because they actually practice it and understand how to run it, and not because it's an unfair play that everybody would get an automatic first down on week after week after week, which, as we just said earlier, is completely untrue and fake. Do you guys think the Tush Push will be here long term? Do you think the NFL is going to ban it like I do? As dumb as that sounds, let me know down below right now. Now, it's funny that we were doubting Jalen Hurts. Maybe you weren't doing it publicly, but deep down, first couple of games didn't look that great, right? Well, how about the last 2 weeks? He leads the NFL in passing yards, 596, and is tied with Dak Prescott for the 4th most passing attempts over that time span. It seems like he's just fine. It seems like he's absolutely just fine based on the angle of this throw on Sunday. Look at this. His accuracy, which was really showcased in the Super Bowl win, has started to come alive here the past couple of weeks, and anyone worried about the Eagles' ability to throw the football really needs to calm down, because Jalen Hurts looks absolutely just fine. The major concern right now is the Eagles' secondary, which hopefully is getting healthier by the week. Now, speaking of complaining about the Eagles' 4-0 start, Nick Sirianni was asked about the fact that some people are upset about them being 4-0 in ugly fashion. He said, quote, "Not looking as good as last year? We can't be any better than we are right now at 4-0. That's all I really can say, and we found ways to win games. Would I debate that we don't look good? Yeah, I would. 4-0 is 4-0. What's so funny to me, though, is that NFL fans are forgetting Philadelphia struggled last year. There were plenty of games where the Eagles' offense or defense didn't look that great. We just have the recency bias of 38-7 against the Giants, 31-7 against the San Francisco 49ers, and 38 points, or 35 points, against the Kansas City Chiefs. Do we forget that the Eagles' defense gave up 35 points week 1 against the Detroit Lions? Or you go all the way till, week 11 against the Colts, where they only put up 17 points? Or whenever Jalen Hurts was out, they gave up 34 points against the Cowboys, only scored 20 against the New Orleans Saints, and lost. It's not like they were perfect last year. The playoffs they were, minus the defense in the Super Bowl, but they still struggled and were up and down, even in a dominant, maybe even more dominant last year than they were this year. Much like Nick Sirianni, I agree, there is definitely some problems, and they have not been perfect, but like he said, you can't be much better than 4-0. Finally, just to keep track of the whole A.J. Brown destroying Emmanuel Forbes has deleted his Twitter account. And this comes out after he, of course, talked a lot of smack, saying he was ready to guard A.J. Brown, talked smack early in the game against A.J. Brown, and then got sunned by A.J. Brown, especially on the second touchdown catch, which, of course, was basically the go-ahead score that Philadelphia used to make sure they could hang on to that lead. Well, looks like Twitter kind of got them a little bit too much, and there goes Emmanuel Forbes. I'm sure he'll be back. I think he's fantastic, but you're going to talk the talk in the National Football League, you got to be able to walk the walk. If you can't walk the walk in the NFL, people are going to walk all over you, and that's exactly what A.J. Brown did. We have plenty more stuff happening next couple of days and weeks. We will be doing a live show tonight. It's going to look a little different. Josh is going to run it. I'm still recovering from surgery, and so it makes it easier if I can kind of not be at my actual desk here. I can't sit for very long due to the surgery, but we should be live tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on a typical Wednesday link live. So if you guys wanted to go ahead and jump in on that, check it out. We'd appreciate it. It's going to be a bunch of fun. I'm Thomas Mott, signing off on a Wednesday. This has been The Thomas Mott Show.